Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this first network operator panel. I like the previous presentation because it's saying that the public network numbers are going to be predominant in the next years. So you know what? The beauty of LoRaWAN, I think it's the business model flexibility. It's unique. You can make it private, you can make it public, you can go on the consumer market in your home hub, and you can make it in your garage, right? We've got hundreds of networks covering 140 countries today. And regarding network operators, we are more than 100. As per April, it was 117. So we had between 5 to 10 networks every month. So it's a big growth. But we cannot invite the 100 operators on stage, I think. But today, we are lucky. We have 6 of them. We have 3 network LoRaWAN operators from Germany, Netzikon, Unity Media, and Minol Zenner. We have 2 network operators from France, Orange and Bouygues, and we have 1 operator from the UK, BT, and will be also on stage. You're going to have 6 presentations. In Germany, it's going to be more focused on their rollout plan. You will have also the opportunity to have a network as a service, hybrid public-private business model presentation from Objenious. Orange is going to talk about its multi-technology strategy, and BT will give a feedback of the first takeaway on LoRaWAN. I want to add just one information. In the former presentation, it was mentioned that LoRaWAN is mostly used by non-traditional operators. I will moderate because today, more than 30 MNOs are using LoRaWAN officially, and I think that we have like 10 additional unofficially mobile network operators using LoRaWAN. At the end of the panel, we will have the question. I will ask 3 strategic questions to this gentleman. Okay? So let's start with the first presentation from Mr. Mark Kirchstoffer from Minol Zenner Group. Marcus, thank you.
Okay, so good morning, and thank you for having me. My name is Marcus Kirchstoffer from Minol Zenner Connect. I'm the managing director, and out of all the lists, we are the one that sticks out like a Thor's thumb because we are not a traditional telco, and that's the beauty of LoRaWAN. It enables all kinds of persons to fulfill roles that have not been on their possibility scale before. So that's how we as a group dipped into what we are doing today. Yeah, okay. Which one? Okay. Okay, so what are we providing for our customers? We're providing connectivity, thank you very much. We're providing connectivity, not in a classical sense that you can just book a LoRaWAN connectivity model and hook up your sensors. We are going there, but we're not there yet. So at the moment, we are providing connectivity on a B2B basis. But we are also helping others who are interested in LoRaWAN to use the technology. So we're doing workshops, we're doing classical network planning. We are offering to manage their assets, so the LoRaWAN devices and the LoRaWAN networks. We're doing classic LoRaWAN coverage estimation simulation. We developed our own simulation models there. We're doing on-site evaluation, and we are trying to lower the hurdle for our customers as low as possible so that this great technology is adopted by them. And everybody's asking, okay, so you're doing this since 3 years. We started the proof of concept phase in 2016, pilot phase end of 16 and 17. 17 and 18 were more or less pilots, and since autumn last year we went into the major rollout here in Germany. This year we are approaching other countries. So we have quite a few devices on our network, and we get asked this question a lot: what is the major use cases that drive your rollout? And historically, coming from metering, of course that's metering. But when utilities approach us, the first question is, can we switch our remote reading technology to LoRaWAN? Yes, of course, but there's so much more you can do. So when we look at the situation right now, sub-metering and metering is the #1 application on our network. Next to it, there's a little typo. It's not security, it's safety. So everything that is, or let's say CO2 levels are monitored in the apartments, smoke detectors are installed into the apartments, remote operation of these smoke detectors, if they are functioning, if they have an alarm. This is the second biggest use case, and it's gaining traction since we have a law in Germany. It's always nice for a use case to have a law backing you up. And then, of course, utility metering, but like Sasha said, most utilities are a little bit conservative, so they are still in the phase where they want to do everything by themselves, but since a lot of utilities don't have the technology in-house anymore, or the IT departments anymore, they outsourced it, they don't have the knowledge to do all of that, and this is where they approach us. They want to own it, they want to still feel that they are in control, but they don't have the means to do the day-to-day business. And on a proof of concept phase, the smart city use cases, all of that is gaining traction, and we can see by the customers from Minol that Andrea Krem is talking about. We start with the core businesses. We transform their readout technology to LoRa, and with just having, okay, we have this LoRaWAN, what does it do? They ask questions about what else is out there that you can help us with. And logistics is the next thing that we are approaching. Asset management, localization is, we dipped into that. And of course, smart agriculture is a thing that needs help and that LoRaWAN is perfect for. So just to give you a little bit of what we are doing in the next few months, we already deployed around 3,000 gateways, indoor and outdoor. Metering is typically underground or indoor, so a lot of this is indoor gateways. We will approach 5,000 gateways this year. The plan is to have operating network from Scandinavia down to Italy in one network, that you do not have to roam when you are our customers, but of course LoRaWAN enables everybody to participate, so roaming and partnerships is key. So we are open and we are willing, and we frankly need to talk to each other, cooperate, and then approach this rollout in Germany and in Europe together, so that LoRa has the traction that it needs and that it must have at the moment here in Germany to convince the last few conservative utilities to jump on the ship, that great ship that the LoRaWAN is. So thank you very much, and I hope to have a nice dialogue with you today.
Thank you, Markus. Take a seat. We are going to stay in Germany, and we welcome Wolfgang Krüger, from Netzikon, subsidiary of Telent, but Netzikon, right?
Hi. Okay.
Yes. You have
Okay. Is this one switched on? Yeah. Okay. Thanks. So, welcome to all of you. My name is Wolfgang Krüger, head of networks within Netzikon, and one of the mission is get info from things, and through applications, get value through LoRa. To bit to our history, we are a subsidiary, 100% subsidiary of Telent. Telent is a well-known company in critical business infrastructure, IT infrastructure, and they thought about what could be the next step in the IT business, investigated this, and therefore Telent is member of the LoRa Alliance since 2015, and thought about to step into the business. Without a network, this business does not make sense. At this time, there was no network available, and Netzikon decided to start with an own network, and therefore founded Netzikon. And we did this in the same way like you. We started with POCs, and so is LoRa really working? And end of last year, similarly at the same time, we said, yes, now we are in a stage that we really do not just POCs, so really we start with a network. We founded this formally and started this business. Our mission in LoRa is, and Netzikon is a network operator providing connectivity. And Talent is our partner for sales, for solutions. And it could be anybody else. It's not just Talent, because we are an independent network operator, despite we are a subsidiary of Netzikon, of Talent. And our mission is, as a public operator, that we have end-to-end data security. Data security, in our eyes, is key in the future, especially in Germany, where we continuously talk about security, security, security. It is key, and it's end-to-end security, which has to be handled very easily. And therefore, we have, on our own premises, geo-redundant network infrastructure. The network server is in Germany placed, because in Germany, everybody is thinking about if it's abroad, do we have access to security and this kind of stuff. Therefore, we decided to have this. As Talent has Germany-wide an infrastructure for service and maintenance, we are able to handle this very easily. We, using Talent in this part, have an own field force, 24/7, all of the year, a service being delivered. And the target is network quality and availability on a carrier-grade standard as public operator. We see this as important. It does not incidentally mean we have to spend a huge amount of money like mobile operators. We have to get the right level between, let me say, being very cheap and easy plug and play, and on the other hand, carrier grade, and that's the target. So high network quality, network availability, and data security are key for the network, because our customers, independent who they are, whether it's consumer, business, whatever else, need services they really can trust in. As soon as they fail, we have problems, because we are right now in the beginning of the business, and if they recognize we fail, they stop it immediately, because in the market it's a lot of narrowband IoT, 5G. Some certain communes think about the next week they have 5G. It never will happen this way. But as soon as we fail, we run into troubles in this way. Another thing, you mentioned this as well, Markus, is roaming. The networks have to work together. We will talk about this later on. There are different ways to do this, but roaming is of great importance, and we are pushing this from the beginning, and we are right now in the process as well to do this with Swisscom, with KPN, starting the cooperation, talk about this, to the tests. It's not that we have tomorrow the roaming implemented, but we have prepared everything and are in the business of doing this. Regarding on the rollout, we started, and our target is to have a countrywide rollout. Of course, this will not take place in Germany within some minutes. It takes a certain while. And we have to think about where are our customers, where are partners who have a network, does it make sense to roam with them or not, according to different requirements. We see, based on our mission, so we do the rollout, on the one hand, from the bigger cities to smaller cities to rural areas, on the other hand, customer-driven. Wherever we do have customers, we roll out in this area. So we are flexible in this way. That's the only way to do this and step forward and make the customer happy. And the other thing I mentioned, we have to think LoRa is not a small business just in one small commune, in a small area. LoRa is a worldwide business. And we need to get standards and processes that we can use this easily, seamless on the one hand borderless, on the one hand from the use cases and the usage very seamless. Otherwise we will not get success. So we have to think this in a bigger way. It sounds very dramatic, but we have to think this in a different way than just have here some devices, because the device manufacturer spend a huge amount of money, and they need deployment in millions, otherwise they don't earn money. So we have to think this differently. And if we just talk about small different areas, it does not work. So far from our side, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Matthias Emmermann for Unity Media in one word. Yes, Matthias. No, it's not you.
All right, thanks a lot. Oh, well, thanks. My name is Matthias Emmermann. I'm from Unity Media. And, well, as maybe the latest member of the LoRa Alliance, let me just spend a slide on our background information, who we are, where we come from, and what we're aiming for. So let's go back in time about 10 years. On the bottom right side, you see Germany. And, well, 10 years ago, we had, let's say, 4 worth mentioning cable operators in Germany. So we had Telekom Lumbus, which is in the eastern part of Germany. We have KDG, that's Kabel Deutschland in the middle part. And in the left-hand side, we had Unity Media, or ISH, and KBW, Kabel BW. And we were doing great. We had a double-digit growth each year, and it was just awesome. And so then suddenly John Malone said, well, there are some cable operators in Germany, so I think they're doing so well, so I might buy them. So he decided, well, okay, let's go out and let's buy the ISH Easy and the Kabel BW and combine them to the Unity Media. So this ended up in revenue 2.4 million or billion revenues. We have 2,500 people sitting in Cologne. And with the Liberty Group on top, we have 45,000 people or colleagues. We have cable operators, at least 14 in Europe that we partner with. In America, we had some in Australia, I think New Zealand. So this is our background. We are quite a big company, and so we decided to go with the LoRa Alliance. We are the only company or the only part of the Liberty Group that actually entered the LoRa Alliance and want to go with the LoRa network. Following, I will show you how we see the IoT market, and the next one, or the next slide, is then how we want to address the market. So in our opinion, IoT is always considering or consists of 3 pillars. The first one is always a sensor or an actor that measures anything and has to send that data via some kind of network layer into the third pillar, which is a database or application. While the Unity Media or the Liberty Global once manufactured its own set-top box. It took about 10 years to 15 years, almost $1 billion. So we decided, well, that's not the way you can tackle the market of IoT. You have to be digital, you have to be agile, you have to be a lot faster. It cannot be done that it takes 15 years to implement or to manufacture any sensors. So, and if you don't have the sensor on the one hand side, is there a need to have the database or the application on the other hand side? Because you don't know which data is actually coming in, which data you have to display or analyze. So as we as a cable operator, we said, well, if you don't have the first pillar and the third pillar, well, there's only the second pillar in the middle, which is the transport layer. That's the only one thing that's left. So we decided, well, we as a cable operator, we build, we plan, we manage, and we monitor networks all over in our footprint, so why not just go for that? And since we did that decision, we said, well, we build up a network, and then how do we make money with it? So we decided to offer that to everybody that's out there and want to use it. So we said it's a wholesale network. And that's the way we think IoT is. It's a very simplified picture, but that's the way we want to do it. And in the following, I have a short film, and there are 2 things I have to say about the film. The first is, well, I definitely wanted to have Halle Berry in it. Second is, we have 2 target groups, and the first one is we call it infrastructure partners that are partners we build the network for, sometimes with, and on the other hand is like the ecosystem partners. That's what we call it. It's the partners that can actually use that network and bring back the money that we invested. So let's give it a try. one more slide.
Yes.
One more slide. Just to underline what the concept in detail is, we have on the right-hand side, that's just the movie or the film. Well, you didn't see a Halle Berry, so unfortunately I didn't have enough budget. So, okay. On the right-hand side, it's the infrastructure partners that we address. It's like any city that's out there, is cable operator or any operator, utility companies. So anybody or retailers, anybody that has building infrastructure. Well, as Unity Media, we don't have buildings. We only have a building in Cologne, but that's not the way you can cover the whole part of Germany. And well, we have about 100,000 of those street cabinets, but that's not enough. So we said, well, let's address the person or the cities that have buildings all over, so we can use their infrastructure to mount our gateways on and then cover the whole part or the whole cities. So that's the way we address the infrastructure partners. And on the other hand side, you have the ecosystem partners that actually use our network or can use our network to sell their use case to their customers. We don't have the end customer contract. We just provide the network. We have it's like a single-digit fee for using the network per sensor basis, and so they can address their customer and take us as their infrastructure partner to tackle the market. That's how we do it.
Thank you very much. So, if the market is asking whether it's going to be LoRaWAN nationwide network in Germany, the answer is yes. If the market is asking if it's going to be nationwide network in Germany in the next 12 to 18 months, the answer is yes, because moreover, these network operators and the other members of the LoRa Alliance in Germany are really open to collaborate. So we tell today to the market that Germany is here and will be very strong, because we know you're a very strong economy as well, adapted to IoT. Let's move to France. In France, we have 2 nationwide networks already, and Arnaud will start presenting Objenious kind of hybrid business model. That's also a big trend in the world. You are in between public and private, so you can capture the private value as a public operators, and from the customer point of view, you have all the advantages of a public offering carrier grade and a private way of using your gateways. Arnaud, I let you.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Yeah.
Big actually, yeah, so they'll turn on. You're good.
Okay.
No, you're here, you're good.
I'm not sure. It's working. Okay. Hi, everybody. So I'm Arnaud van der Ven. I'm in charge of the network at Objenious, and I'm also a board member of the LoRa Alliance since the very beginning. So first slide is to introduce you Objenious, my company. Actually, Objenious is a brand of my mother company, Bouygues Telecom. Bouygues Telecom is a French mobile operator. And Objenious is the brand which is focused on the IoT stuff. So today it means mainly LoRaWAN network and connectivity, but tomorrow it can be also another technology. We are co-founder of the Alliance since the very beginning, and we are involved in all the committee in the Alliance, so the technical committee, marketing committee, certification, etc. Our network, so it's a nationwide network since 2016. So we have more than 4,200 gateway rollout in France. With that, we have the coverage of 96% of the population outdoors. And as an operator, we care with security, geo-redundancy, quality, SLA, etc. So this is our job. So we do it well, like you, Netzikon. In addition of the network, we work a lot of a very important things. This is the platform. The platform for the device management. The platform is also useful to get the data from the networks. And we are also able to propose analytics on this platform with KPIs and data, etc. So we have a homemade platform which is Spot for Smart Portal of Things. that is developed inside Objenious. About the numbers, today we have around 150K devices live on our network, which generates 5 million messages per day. Okay, so we have to support this on the network and also in the platform. We develop a capability about deploying dedicated infrastructure. So this is key for my next slide for the hybrid network. So I will develop this. And we have some big customers in France and Europe, which are Airbus, Intergaz, the French railway company, and also Carrefour, in various use cases. So it's mainly for this customer asset tracking or tank monitoring. But we have also customers with smart cities, with utilities, etc. So as an operator, we have several use cases. Okay? So to introduce the concept of hybrid network, I have a question for you. According to you in France, who is the main competitor of Objenious? So 3 answers. It can be Sigfox on LP1, it can be Orange, the other nationwide network, or it can be the private networks. And the answer is, for sure, the private network. This is the main competitor. So this is the main reason why we decided to propose a new kind of product, which is the hybrid network. So the hybrid network is very simple. As a final customer, you have the capability to buy your own gateway from Objenious. So this is your own infrastructure dedicated to your use cases. So the gateway is delivered pre-configured with a SIM card, and everything is working in just 1 second. You have just to play the product, the gateway, and it's working with LoRaWAN by Objenious. Because it is your infrastructure, you do not have connectivity plan. It's unlimited. You can plug all the device you want. In terms of usage and number of uplinks, it's also unlimited in the limit of the duty cycle, of course. But no constraint on that, okay? Behind the gateway, we operate the core network with the LNS, and behind the LNS, the platform to operate the data. And another key point is when your asset is just staying in your facility, office, etc. Okay, the private network is good, but sometimes your asset have to move to another factory, etc. So we can relay the connectivity on the nationwide network by Objenious in France, but also with the roaming partner. So today we have a roaming partner commercially running with Swisscom. We announced today another partnership with Proximus, and another partnership are coming soon this year, because this is very important for the ecosystem to have a strong roaming together. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, I think Arnaud, it's a key presentation because more and more operators in the world are breaking the wall between public and private. And you can only do that with an unlicensed technology. You cannot bridge a public and a private network at cost-efficient way if you don't use an unlicensed technology. That's also one of the differentiators of LoRaWAN. It's also the beauty of that kind of business model. So now, Ronan from Orange. So Orange is also a mobile network operator, but not only. It confirms that mobile network operators are coming to LoRa. And Ronan is going to talk about Orange multi-technology strategy.
Yes, so hello and good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be in Berlin to talk about Orange strategy, and especially for us, we believe that our strategy for LoRaWAN is included in our overall IoT strategy, and that the Internet of Things is an inclusive disruption. It is for everybody. It is for everyone, as was said by Donna a bit earlier. So I'm Ronan Lebras, head of technical strategy at Orange. So Orange, you may know, is a mobile operator. We are present in 28 countries as a mobile operator. And here I will focus more on the business we have with LoRa, but not only. We selected LoRa and LoRaWAN, especially a few years ago. And for us, it's a step, further step in the IoT domain, but it's not the only one. We've done M2M. It was not called IoT for more than 10 years based on our mobile networks, mainly 2G, but also 3G and 4G now. We've also adopted another IoT technology, a cellular-based IoT technology, which is LTE-M, and we are rolling out LTE-M in our footprint in Europe. We are also preparing for 5G, and we believe that LoRaWAN and cellular technology, whether it's LTE-M and 5G, will be complementary technology. As Donna said, the IoT world is very diverse. There are a lot of different use cases with different characteristics. You need low latency, you need critical communication for some safety-related use case, for some personal use case. You need low battery consumption and long range, and maybe for less delay-sensitive use case, you need the appropriate technology, and for that, we've selected LoRaWAN. So it's really, we do not oppose, like we've seen other mobile operators, LoRaWAN with cellular. We think that they all have their place, and it's the best to choose and to propose the right portfolio of technology so that customers can have the best and the technology that fits their needs. Trying to push for the wrong technology for a certain use case is making a mistake, because both sides will lose time. And we've seen some early promises of technology that failed in the past, and we do not want to repeat that. Why we selected LoRaWAN? As I said, it's very fit with some key use case where you need a low-cost module, you need low power consumption, and you need long range. But this, you could say, there are maybe a few other technologies that could do it. But with LoRaWAN, we also have a strong ecosystem, an open standards. We are in the LoRa Alliance for that. We have now the certification. We have private and public deployment type, and it's very important, even for Orange, to have this flexibility. In some markets, we will also address some private customers if they want an extension of our networks. In some countries where we are not a mobile operator, we can do it. We've done it. We have a few cases already outside of Europe. And it's very important also that the technology is very flexible in the deployment. And with LoRaWAN, you can deploy very quickly a hotspot of connectivity, whether it's an indoor one or outdoor. Very important for smart building, for smart agriculture, or for smart mining if you want to deploy in Africa, for example. So it's very important for us. It was the right choice at that time. There was a lot of question why a mobile operator would choose to go into the LoRaWAN space. Now we start to see why, because the growth is not only for mobile operators, for alternative players, but we start to see the justification of that choice. In terms of deployments, I will be very quick on that, but in France we have a national network since the middle of 2018. We started the rollout in 2016, so it took approximately 2 years to reach 95% population coverage in France with almost 5,000 gateways. They are mainly outdoor gateways, but we can complement with indoor gateway if needed. And outside of France, we now have also some deployments in Slovakia, so it's mainly city-based, so it's customer-driven project. And we also have in Romania a few projects where it's integrated in some smart cities project. So it's not a national coverage in these countries, but we're still developing. And we have other countries and other customers worldwide where we offer them the connectivity, but also services on top, including data management, data analytics, and end-to-end integration if they need. And just to finish with this last slide, and I think Bert will present after that. When we say now we have the proof that the choice of LoRa was a right choice, Orange Business Service signed one of the biggest contracts for water metering on LoRaWAN, but for any technology, I think in Europe, it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest for now. There will be 3 million, and you will have details later, but you'll have around 3 million meters connected on LoRaWAN networks in France for the next 10 to 15 years. So this shows that really LoRaWAN, especially for the water metering, but for any use case that are in need of this long range and low power characteristics, is really the right technology at the time. And we'll be happy to also exchange with you afterwards during the networking events and answer some of the questions.
Thank you, Renaud. Also interesting because it's about the licensed, unlicensed technology. Everybody every day says NB-IoT, LoRaWAN, NB-IoT, LoRaWAN. Just look back and look at the Wi-Fi story. You know that 60% of the voice traffic in the world is offloaded on Wi-Fi, unlicensed technology. You know that in the US, 67% of the voice traffic is offloaded on Wi-Fi. So the mobile network operators are just playing the same game with LoRaWAN. They offload their massive IoT traffic on LoRaWAN to concentrate their cellular IoT technology on critical IoT, SLA, low latency. So it's nothing new here. Nothing new. It's just about to step back and to look at other technology. So I like the presentation for that also. So BT, Steve. We've had a very nice story. That's more than 2 years that BT has been testing LoRaWAN. They also welcome one LoRa Alliance even in London a few years ago. And now they are jumping in because they announced a first utility deal in the north of England 2 months ago.
Thank you. That's on. Good morning. Thank you. There are people out there. That's good. So my name's Steve Dye. I'm the head of IoT connectivity services for LoRaWAN and Wi-Fi inside of BT. A quick background on that. BT's very large. Stated aim is to look at converged networks, and as such, what we do is effectively take what our customers want and work with them to decide the best type of solution to deliver their services. And that means that we develop a range of bearer services. We've got a very large, as Remy said, and most of my background's in Wi-Fi, a very large Wi-Fi network that we also adopt for solutions that we deploy. And again, something else that Remy said as well, one thing that's striking me very hard at this moment in time is that where the LoRaWAN story is at the moment is pretty much where the Wi-Fi story was 10, 12 years ago. And if you look at how big that's grown, then the expectation and the ability for LoRaWAN to grow is enormous. So, a very quick statement about what we're doing in there. BT is a mobile operator. We had a period of time when we weren't a mobile operator, but that's a story for a beer. But we do networks, and our background is in networks, whether that's fixed or mobile. And even when we weren't a network operator, we were still supporting all of those services that other people were working on. But in the last couple of years, as Remy said quite rightly, we have been working in this space and certainly have had many deployments of LoRaWAN that we've been discovering how to use this technology and how it is used by our customers. Areas such as MK Smart had things like smart parking in it. Areas such as water table measurements, looking at flooding and such like, which is again what we're doing in Northern Ireland with the Department of Infrastructure over there, as well as some other areas about location tracking. So, give you an idea, BT's actually been doing quite a lot of this stuff in the background, seeing how it works, looking at which of the technologies actually fit to what our customers need. And as Remy also mentioned, stealing all my thunder, we also a couple of months ago announced to very surprising responses our work with Northumbrian Water Group, which is not for smart metering. it's for smart networks, and we'll talk a little bit about that in the following slides. But certainly inside the UK, which doesn't yet have a nationwide coverage with LoRaWAN, the amount of responses we had to that PR certainly surprised both us and Northumbria. So what's our ambitions? Well, I think this has been borne out throughout the whole of the morning. Certainly is that the potential for innovation in this space is almost unlimited. There are loads of things that we can do, and one of the next slide I'll go on to, I'll explain where you've gone in with particularly one use case, but there are so many more that fit the vertical or even the horizontal that you're working with. We are addressing these ambitions by being able to deploy, manage, monitor devices, wherever they would be through our network that we're going to deploy, and more importantly, we think, is actually taking that individual pieces of information that comes off that application and bonding them together. As anybody who spoke to me over the last day or so, one of the things that continue banging on about is the fact is that, yeah, you can do smart moisture detectors in the ground, and they might tell you that you're about 60%, whatever the moisture rating is, but that just tells you what's there. There's no context to it. The next context would be to take that piece of information and assess it with, say, the weather forecasts, and so actually provide alarms on two disparate pieces of information to give you more information to deliver to that customer. And that's what our analytics platform does in the middle of our services. And again, some of the areas that we're looking at, again, we talked, my colleagues talked about that this morning, and they're absolutely correct. There are loads and loads of use cases. These just happen to be the key ones that we're particularly focusing on. And in that, what I thought I'd do is just give you a quick brief on the water industry that we looked at. Up until about 4 months ago, I knew absolutely nothing about the water industry, apart from looking at, when I started to take over this role, looking at the importance of the opportunity that sits between there. This is a representation of what's called the clean water system. It doesn't have the other network that sits behind it, which is the dirty water situation. So where does it all come away from where you've used it? That's another network itself. But this one itself actually does provide something in there. So most people may be looking at inside the meter area for things like water meters, and we'll cover that a little bit more. But if you think about it, it starts up in where the reservoirs are, and then you've got things like fluid levels in there that jump to mind. But the other ones that may not are things like door captures. When's a door been opened in a reservoir? When's a particular box been opened up? And you start to think about this not just as just water, but other aspects that fit within inside those use cases that we've had that fit within inside, in this particular case, what is owned in the UK by one water company itself. Again, it comes down to things like water treatment plants. It could be location, it could be security of the doors, it could be maintenance and vibration of pumps. They're also usable in other aspects of it. It could be the oil industry uses some similar sort of approach. So the view here is that although it's one industry, there are multiple use cases that sit there. There are multiple opportunities just in one vertical that you have. In the UK, we do have some significant challenges though, but we are rising to deal with that. So if we look at aspects such as smart water network rather than smart water metering, we'll be looking at all aspects inside that DMA, from flow, which is nothing to do with metering per se, turbidity, a new word for me, look at water quality and such like this that sit inside those DMAs. But in the UK, we have a particular problem. Anybody know what that is? Ooh, boy. So if you are in the UK, that's called a boundary box. Your water pipe sits at the bottom of that, and that's where your meter sits. Generally, that's about 600 millimeters below ground level, sitting under a metal lid. Our challenge when we do smart metering is to get messages to and from those meters. All right, but we're doing it. We had our first look at that and deploying it correctly within inside the UK. There's actually very good reasons why they're 600 meters down, 600 millimeters down. It's to stop freezing. And actually on top of that, halfway down, you'll also have some insulation as well. So just thought I'd give you a little review of some of the challenges that we're doing and addressing with what we're doing in BT. And with that, thank you very much.
Thank you. So, unfortunately, I have no seat yet, so I have to stand.
You've been sitting all morning.
So, gentlemen, I want to ask you some questions. We have more than 100 network operators, more than 60 just in Europe. So, interconnection is key. So, how do you envision interconnection? I will not re-ask the question to the one who already mentioned that and presented that. But Arno, Objenious, what's your plan on that?
Okay, so the first things and the most important things is that the final customers have really huge need on roaming and interconnection between operators. So just two examples. Big company like Airbus for asset tracking, you imagine that they have factories in France, but also in UK, in Germany, etc. So when they have assets which are running between the factories, they need to track it, and they need coverage in each country in Europe. Also, Spain is key for Airbus, for example. This is the one big example for when the asset is moving. But we have also needs for fixed assets. For example, I spoke about Antargaz. As you can imagine, the tank from Antargaz not moving a lot. So when they have comprehensive rollout, it's in France, but it's also in another country in Europe. They want and they need a leader operator which can bring the data from France for us, but another from other countries with the roaming interconnection. So it's very important for the business and for the customers. Today, I can say that we are losing business because of the lack of the roaming. So when this kind of company wants comprehensive coverage in Europe, for example, they go to Sigfox or they go to 4G if they don't have issues with power in the device. So the good news is that the ecosystem is, we did a lot. So first, thanks to the technical committee and to the alliance to deliver the specification to implement the roaming. The LNS maker did also the job. So today, I think it's almost ready in all the roadmap from all LNS makers. And we are starting as an operator to implement this feature, the roaming between some operators. So we announced some partnership with Swisscom, with Proximus, but this year we will announce much more agreements with another operator. I think there is a press release on that.
Yes.
With
yesterday
a statement with many operators who declare that they are going to work hard on the roaming. So it's very good news. It's very important. Okay. So this is for the good news, but we still have huge challenge to continue and to be a leader on the roaming. According to me, the first challenge is to the operator have to interconnect fast. So it's the very beginning, so we have to continue this in the few months. This is the first challenge. Another big challenge is about the business model. So today we have to build a business model for the final customer when the device is moving, when it's permanent roaming. So this is something that we start to discuss between operators, but we'll have to find a model which is sustainable for the final customer. This is another challenge. And there is also a third challenge is about the overseas roaming, because I mainly spoke about Europe, because this is, I'm French operator and my final customer needs Europe, but tomorrow they will need overseas roaming, so we will have to work on devices and networks to identify when the devices is in another frequency plan to switch the frequencies and to continue the connectivity seamless for the final customer and use cases.
Thank you. So we add up new operators every month. Last month I had like 8 new operators, 3 MNOs. It's become routine. But what about the use cases? Where do you predict the growth is going to come from? And so Marcus from Minol Zenner.
Well, like I said before, I think at the moment it's metering that is driving this technology here in Europe. Why is that? The business case is pretty clear for the end customer. Install a LoRaWAN module, save the guy who walks around and writes down the metering each year. So free up this time and let them do something else. So this is, I think, at the moment, the driving use case. And then it's all the safety and security concerns. So measuring room temperatures, humidities, water levels, CO2 levels, smoke levels, all of that. And also hull breach detection for buildings. Are all doors closed? Are they open? Are emergency parking spots blocked, or do you need to provide access to an emergency lane or whatever? So I think these are the next use cases that will be adopted and will drive the LoRaWAN technology here.
Okay, Renaud?
Yes, so I would say that the first wave and the high volumes are coming from the metering, and I agree with that, and that's what we've seen with birds, but in other countries also it's the first one that generate volume. But once you have equipped the meters, you have only maybe 3 meters per home. The second wave, it's going to come from the smart cities, including the smart buildings. And we talk about smart buildings, there's a huge and untapped yet opportunities that will develop, because the more networks are available, the more flexible architecture are made available and simplified, because we now have quite a lot of new sensors coming in the ecosystem. And it's now to convince the building owners or the building managers that, yes, with LoRaWAN, they have a solution that they can trust for the next 10 to 15 years. And it's the facility managers, the building managers, and those who are building smart buildings now. We've seen, and some liaison has been made between the LoRa Alliance and some industry association from the building. They start to think about putting LoRaWAN in the building directly in the construction phase. So it will be connected by design, and that's where you will see the numbers. It's going to take a few years, because of course new buildings don't come so quickly. But I think in terms of volume, it's quite a lot, because in each home, in each office, and in each public buildings, you can have hundreds of sensors. So compared to the 3 meters per household, so it's going to be the next, I would say, the next volumes.
Okay, so I have the opportunity to be in touch with operators across the world, in all continents, and the last survey I made, I had the same feedback from other regions, that the top 3 use cases are utilities, smart building, and smart city. I know that in Germany you have more than 1,000 Stadtwerken, so city project or smart city projects that are going on. And of course, but it's about, as you said, the number of devices per unit. So smart building is a good one. So the LoRa Alliance has been pushing very hard on the device certification for the last years. Sure, it's very important. So what do you think that device certification will bring to your business? Maybe Wolfgang, you often talk about that.
Definitely. When you talk about the different use cases, and you mentioned in-garage implementation or development of devices, we had a very poor experience in the beginning. Our customer was claiming the network is not fine, it's not good enough, and the device just worked when we have an indoor gateway directly nearby the device. So then it's easy. Then we checked the device and recognized there's no, basically black and white, there's no sensitivity, no power radiation. So LoRaWAN is radio, so if it does not fit in this way, it's not okay. Then we tested this, as well recognized that the protocols are not okay. And based on my experience in the mobile communications, where in the beginning we had a lot of mobile devices, where people said, okay, device is just a device and could be handled easily without any problems, we saw we have to get standards here. And therefore we were pushing this, and we are very, very happy that what you mentioned, Donna, this morning, the way you are pushing as LoRa Alliance certification, because certification is tremendously key. If you want to get the solution that wherever you get a LoRa device, you can connect it to the network, you must be sure that it works accordingly. It must not in any case be a high-end device. It can be a low-end device, but you must know it's working fine, and you must give the possibility, the device manufacturer and device vendors, that they easily can certify this. And therefore, I appreciate your steps forward in this direction.
And it's also a key factor of success for roaming, right? If you have
and
devices from 40
yeah,
countries, if you have different certification process, it's
as mentioned before, we are talking not about a network just in this room. We are talking about a worldwide network and must work everywhere. Like we have this in mobile communication. If I take my device, I can talk in China, in America, everywhere. I don't have to think about this. And the same must happen with the LoRa devices. They must work everywhere. And therefore, certification is tremendously key for the success.
Okay. And Ronan, I know that Orange has been investing a lot on certification and device qualification.
Yes, so I would agree, and it's been also expressed collectively by operators, especially in Europe, and it helped to improve the quality of the certification program. And I think there's also another initiative that's been done recently by again European operators, because they realize that yes, if you want to implement roaming, at some point you will have devices that have been certified or qualified by other operators. So you need to make sure that when they arrive on your network, they have at the same level of quality that if you had qualified them yourself. So at Orange we've done this Orange qualification program for years. We completed what we saw at that time was not enough as being the intrinsic certification, but we're quite happy with the way it is evolving now. We've exchanged a lot of best practice, and yesterday again there was an exchange in the certification committee where they discuss on test case. How do you test and qualify your device on top of the existing certification? What other tests do you do? And I think it's only by doing this that we will improve collectively the quality of devices, and that's an enabler for trust and for roaming. I mean, because if you don't trust a device from another operators, you will be reluctant to accept them on your network. So I think both are linked, and that's why you see some collective work, and it's usually the same operators that are actually working on the certification on the roaming. So
okay. So I know that BT also has a team dedicated on certification. Before, you had some carriers in the world with certification, LoRaWAN certification process. Yes, but it was before. Now, carriers accepted to share their experience with the LoRa Alliance certification committee, and now we have a common view of device certification. And I think it's a good news also for, as I mentioned, roaming. And most of that scale up. We cannot scale up without that. So thank you, gentlemen. We are, I think, perfect, just on time. Maybe you have one or two questions in the audience.
Yes, Charles Dittmer. I have actually two questions, one specifically for Marcus. Very curious to see out of your 3,000 gateways that 80% of them are indoors. And I wonder if what you're thinking on that for more typical outdoor applications, water metering, asset tracking, fleet management. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, we dipped into which way are we going, outdoor or indoor gateway, and for our, at the moment, main use cases that we need to fulfill for the customers, the sweet spot in what do you need to invest, how complex is the technology, and what is involved during installation and services, the indoor gateway is for us the sweet spot. You have easily coverage in all types of buildings with an indoor gateway, and you also have a coverage outdoors. I can show you later the propagation model that we use and how we predict and verify the outdoor coverage. But if your use case is mainly outdoor, so asset tracking, for example, then the indoor gateway route is the technology that you need to deploy is much higher for that. So you really need to find a way to balance that technology that you need to put in. And for us, right now, the mix is perfect, where we have our customer bases in the southwest part of Europe. We have more or less in the 90% coverage area just with indoor gateways, but that's coming from the density of the customers that we have. But as soon as you stretch out for, let's say, asset tracking, even if you just want to monitor the highways, you need to go the outdoor route because it's much more efficient. So you need to find your perfect balance, and if you want to reach that meter that is 1 meter below ground, you will need to have a really dense outdoor gateway network. But on the other hand, you're pretty limited with indoor gateways there. So it really depends on the use case that you're going for. But the performance, and this is due to LoRaWAN and how smart the technology is and how good it is, the indoor gateway still has a really good outdoor range. And this is something that a lot of people need to understand, that it's not like the short-range protocols, like wireless MBUS, for example, that more or less virtually stops after a wall. You have outdoor penetration even with an indoor gateway, but it's not kilometers. It is a kilometer or two, depending on where it is, but you have it. So you need to find your way there, and I'm happy to share our experiences with you in finding this perfect mix and what tools to use there.
Thank you. And just real quickly, just maybe down the line real quick on photo firmware update over the air. As far as the operators, are all of y'all going to support that on your networks? And do you see that with LoRa being a pretty low bandwidth technology, do you see that impacting your service at all for your subscribers?
For me, it makes sense to do it that way, but our deployments are very small. I was waiting to see what some of the larger operators are dealing with that. You don't know.
So we have not yet decided on our side when and how we will support it. So it's something we are evaluating. So it's a bit early to say.
Okay.
Because for some use case, if the device can be easily accessed, in case the FOTA doesn't work, okay. But for water meter, for example, where the use case is you're not going to touch the meter for 10 years, would you take the risk of going to FOTA? So that's something that probably would, you have to balance the risk versus the benefit. For other type of use case where the device is in a home, can be, it could be a very good way to enrich the device capabilities. So I think you have to be, depending on your vertical and on use case, I think it would be easier to implement or not. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. I think that's so. One more.
It was very good news that now the roaming goes forward and that there's some success already, thanks to our French colleagues. The question is how this is regarding roaming cost. We had this nightmare in the mobile world of data, especially for a long time, until the European Union has put the pressure on the network operators. I think the LoRa business is not big enough at the time that we're getting on their radar screen, but I think it's important to have discussed this financial impact as well, because as mentioned, the Sigfox guys, that's their biggest advantage in the moment, that they have a single over infrastructure, and so that means the financial part behind has to work as well the same way as the competition is doing.
So I will answer to this question. So first, regarding the pressure from the European Commission, so we have to be vigilant with that, and we have the regulation committee who can act for lobbying in that stage. And we have no pressure yet, to be honest, on that, on the price, etc. So this is not a so large business like mobile operators, so no problem with that. But today we have to build a connectivity plan tarification with a partner of roaming to propose something which is sustainable for the final customer. So we can't propose the roaming for big price. So we have to have something current with the nationwide prices. So this is something which is under discussion and between operators. So each country is a new agreement, so with price. So this is something what we are discussing right now.
So
each agreement.
It's not like we have a...
For example, I have an application for some of our sensors which in the factory which will go over the border and of course, because otherwise it's maybe senseless, since it leaves our local. And there is would be the key, let's say, to see what is the cost of it, because this device will only sell with the service, so with the tracking service included. And it has to go over the border. It needs to include the roaming.
yes, but roaming costs are based on two things: your ARPU, your revenue per unit on the customer side, and your interconnection cost. To compare with cellular, interconnection costs in IoT are very low. So you can adapt your interconnection charging. So just to give you an example, this morning I saw a PR from Zenner. Zenner is one of the leading roaming hub company in Wi-Fi and cellular. They manage like $1 billion per month of cellular traffic. They decided to move on LoRa. You can imagine that they are going to adapt their business model. So we have a fantastic opportunity to manage the cost thanks to this easy, low-cost technical interconnection. So the fee per device you are going to charge each other can be managed. We don't think it's a big issue, right?
I haven't seen Syniverse's Wi-Fi hub and been involved in that as well. With all this, the operation and management will be done correctly. I just think to say one thing about that is, if Wi-Fi is anything to deal with, the market will bear it. It will reach its level accordingly when that particular part of the industry matures.
Thank you.